Hey, welcome. Are you in love with your home? Sometimes all you need is a little refresher to revitalize that long-lost love with your home. Coming up next on Inspire. Inspire is sponsored by the estate of Ray and Ann Goldsmith.
And the Raymond C. and Marguerite Gibson Foundation. And
Friends of KTWU. We appreciate your financial support. Thank you. Hello, welcome to Inspire. I'm excited to be with these wonderful co-hosts, Danielle Norwood, Amy Kelly, and you. And on today's show, we'll discover the secrets to falling in love with your home all over again. Today's episode promises to be an exciting exploration of creativity, design, and budget-friendly do-it-yourself.
Sometimes a little refresh can reignite the passion for the space we cherish. Today we'll look at some innovative ways that we can infuse life and personality into our living spaces.
On today's show, we're joined by Brenda Price, the creative mind behind Absolute Design by Brenda, who will share her expertise on using floral arrangements and decor accents to add that perfect touch of flair and elegance to your home. Welcome to Inspire, Brenda.
Thank you. Thanks. It's fun being here.
So tell me how you got into floral design.
Well, actually, I'm not too sure. Maybe out of boredom and a time to change. Yeah. My first career was 25 years with the Santa Fe Railway.
Wow.
And so after it was time for me to leave, when I became a person I didn't like, so it was time for a change. I always had a little bit of a creativity background to me. You know, I was a busy hand type person. So a friend and I went to Votech and take floral design. I had always used artificial to create anything I wanted to create, but I didn't have fresh flower smarts. So I needed to educate myself on that, and I found I just enjoyed doing that type of work, but it was more fun than work. Then it just went from there, and started my business just a year or two later, if that, and I've been doing it now for over 20 years.
Wow. So tell me this, did your house look all tricked out and pretty even while you were at the railroad, or is this something that you picked up like totally after you retired from the railroad?
Not totally, like I say. I always kind of had a flair. It was, you know, it looked like a home raising children. But I could make it look nicer after I had some more knowledge, so to speak, about it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, you brought some beautiful things. Are these the type of things that you carry in your store?
They are. They came from my shop. I've had a storefront for 17 years.
Wow. Oh, wow.
And I've been downtown for 13. So these are some things that are there, and I can also use in my home, or anybody could use them in their home.
Now, of course, these are for the holidays, and
Yes.
but they could go all through the winter. There's no Santa, so there's snowmen. You can have with the snowman.
The snowman,
yeah. And so, and the deer and everything that can be all winter long, but it's not just seasonal. What are some things that you can do, like say August? You know, you want your home to just look beautiful and fresh. What's something that you could suggest?
Well, for August, you can always add fresh flowers, you know, in the center of your table, or move some things around. I'm constantly shifting. It may end up in this room for a while, and then, well, I'll change that up. I'll bring it over here. It brings a different spark, and maybe you don't see it as you walk through the home. all the time. So it's like, oh, I can enjoy that over here for a while. I think just changing things up a bit like that helps.
So you really do need to have a creative bent, because some people are like, I don't have that gift to be kind of, I call it Martha Stewarty, you know, to be able to move things around. And they're like, I need that like expertise. Is that something that you can teach people, or they can go to you and say, hey, can you hook me up with what to do? And then maybe after coming to you for a while, I can kind of pick up on that?
I think so, yeah,
Okay.
because if people, I suggest that they take a picture of the spot they want to work with. They bring it in, show on their phone. We can pull some things together and say, do you like this? Or, you know, you could probably use this here, place it, you know, and then we get some things pulled together they like, and then I think that they can go from there.
Do you actually do home visits?
I have. I certainly have done home visits, and that's fine. But it seems like people are more into maybe doing things themselves nowadays than 10 years back. Yeah.
Are there some like basic decorating tips? And like in photography, it's like a rule of thirds. You want someone to be here and this. And are there things like that for those of us that like Danielle that are not Martha Stewarty, you know, that we can tell? Because all of my stuff looks like it's lined up for, you know, like a firing squad.
Yeah.
And I call it stuff I like, you know, and that's just I can do better, but I don't know how. What do you suggest?
That doesn't get it. If you can layer, bump up. I call it bump up.
Okay.
Whether you use a nice looking old book that has a nice coloring binding on it, you know, to set it up on a book, or just whatever it takes. If you put like a cloth over something to hide it, whatever, if you don't want to see what you're bumping up with, even a nice table napkin works great, you know, to bump it up there, get different, and add some texture, whether it would just be, you know, a spark of something. And to me, that is the most important thing, not to line them up.
Okay, so you have that wreath, and you're saying that could also be in the center of a table with something in it, which we'll show later.
Yeah, wreaths don't always belong on the
They
door.
don't have to be on the door or on the wall.
That's right.
So you brought that bow, which you make down there at Absolute Design
lots
by
of
Brenda.
bows.
So let's hook that on and give an overview.
So you can kind of see it's very plain like this.
Right.
And it could go on your door or in the middle of a table with maybe a family keepsake, a statue, or like the snowman or whatever, you know, for the season, or a blooming plant, you know, like this with a pretty in the holiday time.
Yeah, even a poinsettia.
Or an Easter lily even, you know, we've had snow on Easter before. So I see,
Sure.
you know, so it doesn't have to be, but when you just add a touch of something.
Oh yeah,
I love that.
It takes on a different personality.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And the bow does not have to be at the top or the bottom, correct?
No,
it can go
just
be anywhere.
however you prefer.
Okay.
Yes,
Whatever
I love
fits your
that.
fancy.
I love
That's
that.
really nice.
Yeah, it is.
Well, and some of us have a tree 365. And
who?
Could it be me? Well, and I found, because I have seasonal affectiveness disorders, so part of my having a tree just helps me to keep, you know, at an even keel, you know, helps me, especially in my bedroom, which when I first did it, you know, it's like, oh my Lord, what are you doing with the tree up? But you can decorate it for different seasons as well. So I love the concept of that. Do you have some ideas for people who want to keep something cool, you know, in their space that maybe their partner's like, I don't really think that this necessarily works, but I mean, but you want to, you know, keep them engaged, but not necessarily throw them off by having a tree? Because I have like an almost 8-foot tree that is up in my room, and I just think it's absolutely gorgeous.
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with having that if that is your pleasure.
Yes.
What makes you feel
It
good?
speaks to me.
Yes, what makes you feel good? And maybe come Valentine's, you can hang some hearts off of it.
Exactly.
You know, you can switch it up. We have a beautiful flock tree at the store, and we didn't put it up this year, use it this year, but we always transitioned it into hearts and stuffed animals and and all that, and nothing easier to transition seasonal than a tree.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's the
perfect.
comfort of that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, are you intrigued? We hope so. After the break, we continue our discussion with Brenda on ways you can add flair with floral arrangements. Do stay with us.
We're back. We've been talking with Brenda Price of Absolute Design by Brenda, and we have you in your element right here with all these different design pieces. Talk about how we could put together a few things that are seasonal, not necessarily just for the holiday season, but for like even winter season. Show us like some of the things that you could do, like even with this deer.
Yeah. Well, it seems right now, and has been for a spell, that popular decorating in the home as far as walls, furniture, is the white, gray, silver tones. And so the nice thing about that, in my opinion, is you can add any color that you want to enhance it with. And so this deer would definitely be, you know, could winter piece, go clear throughout the winter. But if you wanted to change it up, you could just add this little wreath around its nice neck.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
so he becomes with some flair around his neck.
Nice.
And then the frosted winter look, we have a lot of different pines and berries, and a lot of times the look depends on the quality of the product you're using.
Oh,
that's what I feel.
That's beautiful.
So that changes that up rather than just the deer sitting there.
right. And you
on
could
the
come
table.
up on this, you know, in January and February, you could come up on that.
Absolutely.
You know?
And clear through February. That's why snowmen have gotten so popular, I think, because people feel like they can decorate and leave it up really clear through February, Valentine's, till we're ready to go into spring.
True.
So how would all this change when you get into spring, as you were saying? Because right now we have gray and whites, which are really versatile colors.
Yeah.
That's very helpful. So what happens? You know, would you still want to keep the deer in April or May, or what would be different?
Well, since he's sparkly, I would probably take him away if he wasn't sparkly. Country homes, you know, I live in the country, so I'd be happy to have any type of deer still part of my decor, or if he wasn't sparkled.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there are a few rules like that. And see, now you put the bow on that wreath earlier, but that you could take the bow off if you wanted, but that really flounces it up even more.
I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
And it adds the sparkle, and then by just putting the snowman into the center of it,
Yeah.
Which is so cute.
it just, he has not near the appeal out of the wreath.
Yeah,
as he
but
does
now
in the wreath.
he's a go-to
Yeah.
focal point.
Yeah.
What about that photograph?
Family pictures, it's always nice. Maybe I'll just take the deer away for a bit.
Okay, come on down here, dear.
There you go. And just, even if it, in the wintertime, just by adding a touch of, there again,
That's beautiful.
Oh,
you can add to
that's
it.
nice.
And then come spring, pull that away. Any speck of greenery just enhances and changes the look of whether it's a picture or, you know, a family heirloom or whatever. It just makes a whole different look.
Do you recommend the artificial greenery or the real greenery? Because some, you know, that's the. What
I'm
do you
pretty
recommend
much
on
into
these?
artificial.
The artificial, so it lasts
And there
forever.
again, if you have a nice quality, it just looks nice.
But I can even see that, like, you know, with Easter egg type things.
Oh,
Those little
Add
yellow
some
flowers.
grass around the bottom and pile
it's
down there.
multi-use, which I love because, again, you use that for the deer, but then you also use that for the picture.
Yeah.
But you could also use that for
Sure,
Easter eggs and other
absolutely.
things. And this particular piece we were talking about, that you could use that as an arbor for like cabinets or a hutch. So I like the
Yes.
fact that there are many different things, because some people might say, oh, it's too expensive. There's no way that I can actually do this on a
Yeah.
budget. But there are plenty of ways that you
Yeah.
can DIY using these pieces on a
It is,
budget. Talk about that.
absolutely. Yeah, it just, there again, like switching it out, you know, putting it at one place and then another. Like, a lot of things would work around that spray, because it still gives you, I kind of a dish freak. And so it complements dishes of different color plates on an easel. You know, just pump up an easel and you can work it around that. And if you have something on top of your cabinets, then just, you don't have to put it straight across, you know, or anything. Do an accent here, there. And that's another thing in our homes. I don't totally decorate like I used to. We change as we grow older, our ideas. And accents here and there, maybe on top of the bar. And of course in center of the table, or just a bookshelf. Just a small green plant back in there, or just focus on areas is very uplifting to the home, I think. Gives it a new spark, bright look.
I love that.
Because this could even be a table runner too.
Yeah,
Sure could.
well,
A
Amy
big
was
table.
talking about, you know, having it come off the table, the edge just a little bit. You could put lights on here.
Sure.
You know, just a variety of things. And the tree down there in front, I mean, you know, that's the winter feel, but I've seen trees without the flocking that they
Yes.
put little Easter eggs
Yeah,
on
sure.
and that type of thing.
Sure, it just, any kind of greens, you know, and even if you have bushes that need trimmed outside your home, or cedar and stuff,
Yeah.
you know, you can easily cut that in, bring it, put it in water, and greens actually last a number of days, and change it out. Yeah, if you like that cedar smell, or.
So it sounds like, while there aren't set hard and fast rules, having a couple of staple pieces is not a bad idea. For example, like greenery.
Yeah.
Because it's very versatile, you can change it. Pictures, family pictures are good things. You can switch in and out. You can switch the picture, you can switch the frame, and then keep redecorating. So, and then like you mentioned earlier at one of the breaks is, you know, putting things on heights.
Yeah.
And then maybe
Adjusting levels.
covering something with a cloth or something, and change out the colors of the cloth. So these are really basic things that anybody
Easy
could
to do. And minimal money's involved, really,
Yes.
to
In
change
fact,
up.
would you pass me that your red little scarf there? I was
It's
just
just
thinking.
a piece of white ribbon.
It's just a
There you
piece
go.
of, oh, well, see, but I mean, I don't know, just something like even the deer,
Yeah,
because then that
exactly.
accents his little, I mean,
Yeah.
you would make
Perfect.
it look nicer, but you know,
yeah,
and
that's all it
then
does, yeah.
put this little flocking.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
You got it.
If I can do that, you can do that. You know.
And then using a variety of different cans,
Yeah.
because you could like use the big, like, you know, pork and beans can,
Yes.
and the different levels of cans, and then put that over that, and
Oh,
then have
that'd be
different
cute.
levels. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's
Absolutely.
seeing the
No,
cans.
you don't
all they're
see-
seeing is this particular
Tupperware
piece.
bowls work
Tupperware
great.
bowl,
I
absolutely.
never
Those
thought of
little
that.
square things that aren't very high.
Oh, sure.
You know, it just doesn't, and books are just good, because they come in all sizes and depths, and you can use them, and especially like if you have a nice lamp you want to bump up.
Oh, yeah.
That's nice with books. So
Oh, you're a
it
wealth of
doesn't take
information.
much. It doesn't take much.
Well, thank you very much, Brenda, for your time and your information, and for sharing your passion and talents with us today. Now, coming up next, we'll talk to some of the volunteers of the Topeka Habitat for Humanity's Women Build Week, who are helping to turn houses into homes for members of our community. So please stay with us.
Women Build Week is really our effort to make the build site a more welcoming and comfortable place. Sometimes it can be a little bit intimidating to show up on a construction site if you're not sure what to expect. And so Women Build is really about empowering the women in our community to learn new skills, to work with each other, and to really be advocates for affordable housing in our community.
I think it's probably about breaking the stereotypes of what it means to be in, building and in construction, and tearing down that fear that some women have about, getting involved in such a physical and laborious part of community building. So I think to me, Women's Build Week is just getting out of your comfort zone and building relationships across different organizations and different groups.
Our volunteers for Women Build Week really run the gamut of women in Topeka. So a lot of our volunteers show up without really any skills or very minimal sort of construction DIY skills. They come from different companies in town, stay-at-home moms, retired individuals. We really have just about everybody represented during the week. We have a lot of repeat volunteers that come for every Women Build every year because it's just such a good experience.
So Women Build Week is a week set aside specifically for women in the community to come and work on a Habitat house. And of course, we have men and women volunteering all the time for Habitat, but this is a special week to highlight the effort of women. And it's often women leaders, women in the building profession, we have attorneys, we have people in finance, we have just community volunteers who do other things. It's really fun and it's very empowering.
Usually when volunteers sign up with us, when they get here for the day, we'll go over kind of the safety guidelines and how to stay safe and what we're going to be accomplishing for the day. And then our construction manager will walk everyone through exactly how to do whatever the task is that needs to be accomplished for that day. We like to work with people in pairs, so we'll pair everybody up so you always have a buddy. It's a little safer that way. But really, we will teach everything from using power tools to laying flooring. Yesterday we hung cabinets in the kitchen, so we frame the houses with volunteers. We do a lot of the carpentry with volunteers.
There's something really neat that happens when it's a group of women working together, and I like to think we all work on this house as if it was our own, each house, right? Because this is going to be someone's house, someone's first house, and we want it to be just as nice as if we were painting it or drywalling it, but we want to make sure that we're doing our very, very best work because the homeowners are special and they work really, really hard to get their home, and we want to make sure that we do a good job when we're here volunteering our skills.
Thank you to all the amazing volunteers at Topeka Habitat for sharing their time and talents. And speaking of all of these talents, I know, girls, that we can do something with this. And Amy, since you say that you just line everything out, what would you do here that could be different?
I'm glad you asked, because now I always had the fear to try, because what if it came out off? And I've had the experience where I've done something, they're like, oh yeah, that didn't work. Okay, yeah. I didn't want to do that anyway. But now I'm going to try. I mean, why not? And try to think of the ideas of having some greenery and always put something in front, or put some things in different levels, and don't line things
and texture
things up.
Texture.
Yes.
Okay, so we put this down
or
here.
Texture, right?
But you could take this little thing, put it through here. That would be different. And can you reach that little one over there? And then I don't know. It may not look as good, but then he's out here in the woods.
Isn't that pretty?
Yeah.
That looks good. That works.
Well, it's just fun.
Yeah.
I love to do it, but you have to have a lot of stuff.
Yes, you do.
And Absolute Design by Brenda. She has so many things, gift ideas. She's right downtown.
Yes.
Shop small. Downtown Topeka. We want to, because we're in 39 South
629 South Kansas.
Right. Yeah.
And we definitely, because you got me a beautiful candy and balloon and wonderful arrangement when I first started over at Magic 107.7, and that came from her place. And so she does do deliveries and everything, and we want to encourage people to shop local because, again, 70 to 80 cents of every dollar stays right here in this community. So please, as you're thinking about shopping throughout the year, not just the holiday season, please keep it here local.
Yeah, and she always has fun stuff for every season. Scarves, last-minute gift ideas, new jobs, babies, the whole thing, and the fresh flowers. You go in there, and that place just. I love it. I love it. And creativity. She'll help you if you don't know. You have no idea. Because I told her a few things, but then she goes, "Well, what about this? What about this? What about this?" And things you might not have thought of, but then you go in there and it's just amazing.
Well, and she even said you could take a picture of I've got this empty hole, I don't really know what to do with it, and bring it in, and she can give you some ideas and things like that.
And let me say, spouses, if you want to be in there with your partner, why don't you get a gift certificate so your person can get like fresh flowers every week or maybe every month. Like a flower of the month. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like beautiful fresh flowers.
Wouldn't that be wonderful? Yes.
Hello. And they go and they pick their flowers every single week or every single month. And you'd be like, look at me, I'm a hero. That's what I'm talking about. I love that. Like that.
I love that.
I'm going to get that for me for Christmas.
That's what I'm saying.
I want that.
Self-care.
Yeah, self-care.
Okay, now we hope that you're going to do the same. And that is all the time we have for today. We do hope you've been inspired by our conversations. And as a reminder, you can watch this program again at watch.ktwu.org.
And if you are so inspired to learn more about our guests, find out what's coming up on future shows, and to get access to additional content, be sure to visit our website at www.ktwu.org/inspire.
Inspiring women, inspiring homes, inspiring you on KTWU. Thank you for watching.
Inspire is sponsored by the estate of Ray and Ann Goldsmith.
And the Raymond C. and Marguerite Gibson Foundation. And
Friends of KTWU. We appreciate your financial support. Thank you.